Another way that the Electoral College works in the direction of conferring legitimacy is the way that it sustains the two-party system. We have had a two-party system since the 1790s. People in the Constitutional Convention hadn't envisioned a party system, but the party system did come into existence. One major reason that it comes into existence is the Electoral College. Now, sometimes we have had third-party candidates. There have been occasions which we have even had a fourth-party candidate, maybe even a fifth. They tend to be very narrow, single-issue kinds of events, and they're often quite ephemeral because they're built around personalities.
The assumption, I think, is once you eliminate the Electoral College, that we will continue to have two parties. And so that will mean that everyone who's the nominee of one of the major parties will come very close to getting a majority. If not a majority, at least very close to a majority. But that's not true, because once you eliminate the usefulness of the Electoral College, if you go to a system where it's just the popular vote, you could have 12, 15, 20 parties.
To get the majority in the Electoral College, you need to concentrate people's votes behind a limited number of candidates. You can't really elect a candidate president who only brings in about 15 or 20% of the popular vote in the states.
If you have a direct popular vote in which the person just gets the most votes wins, and doesn't have to have a majority, just more than anybody else, this will encourage candidates to stay in the race as long as they think there's any chance they can be the one with the most votes. If you're in a multi-candidate, a direct popular vote, and you're running third with, say, 24%, and the person in second has 28, and the person in first has 30, maybe you can catch them. Everybody stays in the race, and you end up actually not getting a clear popular winner.
Because once you eliminate the usefulness of the Electoral College, what happens is that everyone will get into the game. We will have a lot of people running for the pro-immigration party and the anti-immigration party and the pro-choice and the pro-life parties. In fact, it'd be entirely possible that no one would even come close when the outcome comes. And let's assume that in the end, a person who is in the pro-life parties gets 23% of the vote, and that happens to be the highest percentage of anyone running. Well, then the voters in New York and California and Illinois and Wisconsin who voted for someone else entirely would find that they've elected a president who is pro-life.
We would elect a president on the basis of someone who comes in with 25% of the vote over the candidates who came in with 24% and 23%? Don't you think the people that got the 24 and the 23 would make a great deal of grief about a margin that narrow? Don't you think that would cut into the legitimacy of the candidate with 25%? Of course it would. It would destabilize the entire process of governing. The two-party systems actually helps to bind the nation together, because if you have Democrats in Maine and Democrats in Minnesota and Democrats in Oregon, they're still all Democrats, and they communicate with each other, and they support a common set of candidates. Republicans in Florida, Republicans in Oklahoma, Republicans in Michigan may all be in those different states, but they're all lined up behind a common platform and common candidates. And what this does, it tamps down divisions within the nation and makes us realize that although we may be from Michigan or Oklahoma or Oregon, fundamentally, when we act politically, we're acting as Americans. And that's an important glue for our national unity.
process. It's not a purpose.